Hello there. Volume. How are we? Hello there, people. No, I've not been saved yet. I have not been touched by the special people. I just had a look there. I had an email response. The email response was, well, let's both discard the sarcasm, shall we? I'm off out for the night and I'll email tomorrow. Right, I'm back. What exactly is it you want to ask me? I don't want to ask you anything. I don't think I says I wanted to ask you anything. What I've text back is, I want to come and meet you so that you can demonstrate to me that the earth is a globe, thereby saving me from myself. I really want it to happen and will travel down any time. I think it would be a great video to make, and if you can convince me, it will be huge. So, I mean, I'm beginning to think that the Conspiracy Cats guy is just cherry picking low-hanging fruit that suits his wee stories. And he's not a guy that wants to challenge himself. You know, he just likes to form a wee cult bias and protect himself. And I mean, I'm out here desperate to be saved. I know people think I'm sarcastic. You can't tell whether I'm, sarcastic or whether I'm telling the truth or whatever, but it's really not my problem. You know, the fact of the matter is that I am willing to be saved. I open myself up to the universe and all the messiahs of the universe to come and save me from myself. I will travel anytime, any place. I can't get any fairer than that. You can bring whoever you like with you. You can bring your heavy mob if you think I'm going to scare you or something. Or you can bring your mum. I wouldn't hurt you in front of your mum. That's probably better than the heavy mob. That would just be a challenge. Bring your mum with you. Right? It'll be alright. So, let's make it happen. As I've said before, all joking aside, if you can believe me, that, for me, I don't want any personality stuff involved in this. This is a cold, hard, objective question. So for me, it would be beneficial, everybody is aware that this is circulating within society. If you're really a true, honest person with integrity and that you want progress and you want to help people to understand their reality and have clarity of thought and perception and all that stuff, then why would you not be partaking in the offerings of people like myself? Eh? You obviously view me as some sort of influence of people, and I have done stuff to put that out there. So why would you not take up the challenge to have a direct meeting with myself and we lay out what you've got? And if it's factual, if it's demonstrable and it convinces me, then I embrace it. This is the whole point. People think that, oh, you're a flat earther, whatever that means. No. I'm just a realist. I'm just a man who exists on a level plane, demonstrably, and I have people trying to tell me all sorts of wee stories about what my reality is, who I am, what consciousness is, where I came from, all this stuff, and I ask questions about it. I didn't arrive here from an interdimensional egg, 5 or 6 years ago. That's not what happened. Right? I was the same as everybody else. I just assumed that what was being told was the truth because I was gullible. I was apathetic, ignorant. I'd never asked questions deep enough. When I did turn my attention to those questions, I could no longer maintain the belief or the assumption of what I had been told to be true. Now that for me displays a level of integrity, intellectual honesty, strength, character, because that's the ability, that's a sign of intelligence, that you can, disregard assumptions of belief that you've held, even if it's for 35 years, and then move on from them. A huge part of the problem is, trying to have an honest discussion, is the propaganda and the attachments to certain labels and, the terminology of flat earth and level earth and any of these things. And it comes with so much baggage, which has been done through, various means deliberately. It's a form of propaganda, to muddy the waters, to create a dichotomy so that people get caught up in a us v them type of competitive mentality. And it really should never be like that. When we see that going on, we have to understand that, we're dealing with, either stupidity or dishonesty, right? Because it's not a debate. There is no duality to objectivity. It's singular. If we cannot quantify something properly, i.e. understand it fully, in 3 dimensions, quantify it, have it as something tangible, then we are always going to go round in circles because it would be subject to interpretation. People can interpret things any way they want. But when we're talking about 3-dimensional tangibility, there is no debate. Okay? If we understand the dimensions of something and we can quantify it and we can move around it in 3 dimensions, share it with each other, then we know we're dealing with something objective. If we don't have that part, then it's up in the air. So that leads me into, what I want to talk about firstly here. And it's what I touch on every week, just about what we're going to look at first and foremost before we get to globe science. What are we talking about here? What is this whole topic about? This whole topic is about people like myself questioning the objective surroundings that I find myself in. Okay? So when we say the word scientist, what we're referring to is an individual who has a curious, explorative mind, who wants to understand things and find things out about his objective reality. That's what a scientist is. When we have different lines of expertise in some of the applied sciences and some of the fields of expertise like trades and different avenues, there is a process for you to have that further understanding. But in general, the natural environment that we find ourselves in, we are all on a par. We're on an even playing field when it comes to that. There is nobody more equipped than anybody else. Okay? And also any particular avenue of expertise, if it's something practical, I am not a know-all, but what I do know is that I can understand anything. If it's something practical and I want to put my mind and my attention to it, I have the ability to understand it, comprehend it, function with it, and so do you and everybody else. Okay? It's not that people are born with certain aspects where they have something more than you have, right? So when we say scientist, we're talking about an individual exploring the natural environment. So when we come to the term of science, that's when things get a wee bit murky for people, because there's different variances of what you would categorise as science. If we're talking about the natural environment and we're applying the word science to it, we can look at it a few different ways. People will say the scientific method. The scientific method applies to a cause and effect relationship where you are observing some phenomena and you are trying to establish the cause of that phenomena. Okay, that's where you would apply the scientific method. Other aspects that run in unison with that is practicality, demonstration. So what we can do is we can look at a substance, we can observe the substance, we can determine its behaviour, we can predict its behaviour, we can then utilise these substances and we can put them into practice, utilise them in our everyday existence. So things like, I can go into nature, I can observe water accumulating, forming a mass. I can look at that phenomenon, I can say, oh, look at that water collects up and it forms a horizontal surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of this substance, I'm going to take it home and I'm going to practically demonstrate to myself different aspects. I'm going to mess with it. I'm going to change my apparatus. I'm going to change the containment. I'm going to raise its temperature. I'm going to lower its temperature. I'm going to put things in with it. I'm going to try all sorts of various different things. And then I formulate an understanding that I can then put into practice. This is why we utilise something like water in the natural world, because we have done that. Water is a substance that we know that has no form. It will collect in a containment. It will form a free surface. The free surface will always be, as long as it's at rest, will always be a perfectly horizontal plane. Okay, so we can then extrapolate on that. We can then use it for levelling purposes, because levelling means that we want something to be at the same altitude as something else. We can use it in various different forms. We can put it in a spirit level, or we could formulate something like a water level device, where I can fill a tube and make sure there's no air bubbles in that tube, and I can use that to pinpoint a set elevation. I can then take the other end of that to as far as I like, hold it up and make sure that I'm at the same elevation as my starting point. That's, the difference. So in that situation, I'm not looking for a cause and effect relationship. Okay, I'm looking for practicality, some practical reference, an understanding of the substance and its physicality, its nature, its behaviour. Okay, so just isolated alone, when I look at water, we can understand it. Okay, we can get into the questions of why it behaves the way it does, yada yada, that's a whole other matter. Okay, so we have to understand scientific method, observe some sort of phenomenon in the natural world, formulate a hypothesis, and then set about rigorous testing, okay, to establish cause and effect. So, the trees blowing, the trees moving, wind, alright, hypotheses, I think wind, blah blah blah. Right, now we can go about testing these things, but it's a natural phenomenon. Okay, and again, with stuff like that, we have to be able to access it in 3 dimensions. So, huge differences in some of the things that people term as science. Then if we go from, cause-effect relationship into, practical references and demonstrations, so this substance behaves like this substance interacts with this substance like that, I can then demonstrate that. That's what we would call something like chemistry. Also aspects of physics. I can get aspects of objective reality, substances, I can mess with them, see what I come up with, what results I get. I can then show you that. You can then go on, demonstrate that to yourself and have an understanding. And that's how it operates. Then we have other aspects that we would call science. So you can attribute the word science to pretty much anything. If you, not to be too crude, but just to use an analogy, if you formulate a certain technique for picking your nose, right? I could say, well, that's a science. There's a science to how you pick your nose because you formulated a technique, right? There's a deliberate action and way that you move in order to get the biggest bogies out your nose, right? Maybe you file your nail, maybe you grow your nail and then file it, maybe you twist it a certain direction, maybe you go from left to right, maybe you scrape from top to bottom. I mean, we could say, well, there's a science to how that dude picks his nose, or wipes his arse, or anything. So we have to be very cautious when we're using the word science, because when we're talking about science, for me, the first 2 that I gave you is what I understand science to be. So in particular, for me, it's the practicality. I need demonstration. Hang on a wee second here. Sorry. We also have other branches of science, like the formal sciences, the social sciences, but these things are ever changing. They're based in language, they're not something that you can really rigorously test. Okay, so things like the formal sciences, like mathematics, linguistics, they're very useful if we want to, like going back to what I was talking about earlier. We can utilise a set of language to ascribe it to different aspects of reality, we can make measurements, we can define our measurements, we can apply whatever language we like to whatever we agree upon. Okay, but first and foremost, it's always the substance that comes. Okay, so that means that, you know, then when a human being makes claims about particular substances and their behaviours, they're always duty bound to come to the practical references. If we're talking about real, you know, exploration science, we'll call it exploration. If we're talking about real exploration, then in order for me to, you know, accept some aspect, they have to be in within the parameters. Okay, because if we don't, we end up with, you know, all sorts of confusion and people telling, you know, big stories that people are believing and buying into. And I don't think that's right, you know. So say, each to their own. You can make stories up and put it out there as your product all you like, and the individuals that buy into it, that's their problem. Where I draw the line is when it comes to children who have no formulated a proper rational, you know, thinking mind, and they're being influenced. It's a form of predation, I would consider it. You know, when adults are actively, you know, forming and messing with a child's impressionable mind in order for them to adopt some faulty or skewed, you know, vision or view of their reality. That's just not on. Okay, but as far as adults go, then, you know, the responsibility lies purely at their feet. So this is the whole point, you know, going through this process. For me, this is who I've always been. This is what I've spoke about from the very beginning. Okay, I'm not interested in whether people like me, name calling, whether you know, you love me, hate me, any of these things, you know, who I am in my subjective private life. All these things are totally irrelevant. Anybody that's bringing any of that stuff to the table, I've got to seriously question what your problem is. Okay, this is not a vetting test so that I can go and work in some secret place, right? We're asking questions about the objective reality that we share. It's impersonal, it's no subjective, okay? So we need to go over all that stuff, right? So I ask these questions, and I'm pretty sure, you know, the majority of, you know, you sane, rational people out there have to agree upon what I'm saying, because if we don't, then what are we talking about? This is where we start entering into the realms of interpretation, subjectivity, you know, making up concepts and trying to, you know, add one and one together to come up with seven. You know, it's just not on. So this is what happens. This is why, you know, when I talk about the globular Earth runs about with confidence and gusto, screaming and shouting that it's science, it's scientific, it's science, it's science. Well, really, what kind of science? Does it fall into the category of the first two that I listed? Does going outside, observing a phenomena, something like a luminary, we'll say the moon, looking at that luminary, not being able to get to it tangibly in 3 dimensions, and then making all sorts of assumptions, then following on from those assumptions, you start making assertions about what's going on, what it is, how it functions. That's not the scientific method, and it's not practicality. That is somebody who is looking at something in a 2-dimensional reference frame and just coming up with whatever they like. And because there's repetitive patterns of what they think they see, they start to then formulate models, concepts that they utilise the language of mathematics to formulate. But again, in these types of scenarios, the apparent objects were there first. Then what they'll do is they'll start saying things like, the circle up there is a circle, therefore Earth must be a circle, or Earth could be a circle. Then you go, okay, so you've observed the phenomena, now what's your hypothesis, or what's your practical reference? And we don't get any. We just get a mathematical modelling of a phenomena, a repetitive pattern in the sky translated into a mathematical concept, and then that is pushed to you, everybody else, your children, as being some sort of scientific proof that the Earth's a sphere. What else can we look at? Oh, well, how do you know the Earth's a sphere? I've seen it on the television. Okay. So let's look at the first two categories. Are we going with the scientific method, or are we going with practical demonstration? Either or. What's your hypothesis? TV. Okay, so what testing have you done? Nothing. I just believe it. And I can't believe that people would tell lies, so therefore my logic is that I don't believe that people could tell lies, therefore what they're showing me is true, therefore I live on a globe. That's not scientific either. It's particularly disturbing when, we reference what I referenced before in regards to the substance known as water, when we understand its physicality, its behaviour, right? And we know it, and then you ignore that practical reference demonstration that you can test for yourself. You ignore that because, again, we're back to the image influencing you. So this is what starts to happen. People start to formulate a skewed, picture of the reality. And in this skewed religious picture, they omit and ignore anything that contradicts it, when what's being offered to them is much stronger. Absolutely obliterates the reasons why they believe something to the contrary. This image is contradicting the observed practical demonstration. Where do we go from there? Some people will just jump to another thing. What you got next? Sticks in the ground. So, we go back to the first two again. What's your hypothesis? Light in the sky. And your test is... well, first of all, I'm going to make assumptions about that thing that I think's an object in the sky. Then I'm going to stick two sticks in the ground, and I'm going to mess with the distance that I think this thing's at, so that I can then translate it to fit my preconceived notion of the Earth being a globe before I even started, and then I'm going to make it fit so that it fits the mathematics of my presupposition that I held before I even started it. Again, we have a problem there. It's pretty obvious. You shouldn't be making assumptions about anything. That's not scientific. How did you quantify it? How did you establish exactly what it was? Why did you start off with 1,000,000 miles, then 10 million miles, then 50, and then end up at 93? How did that come about? Reasons. Then you say, well, we use a certain geometry, an assumption that we, apply this geometry to, and that geometry is planar because the geometry we work with starts on a level plane, and that's how we utilise graphs and understanding of aircraft, tracking systems, sonar, radar, transmissions, construction, everything. And we understand that utilising these things, it doesn't work on a curved surface. But 2,000 years ago, a man with sticks making assumptions said so. Dunno. So, I know I'm probably waffling a bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up a wee example of what I'm talking about here. Well, just before we go any further, I thought I might like to share this. Everybody knows we have many, many trolls, antagonists, religious cult zealot disciples who harass us continually I've got quite a few. There's one in particular that calls himself Skyfly Bry. Would you like to see Skyfly Bry? I'm going to show you Skyfly Bry. This is a sort of intellect. It's a real life Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean here. He took a shot at his mate's microlight. Crashed the bastard thing. Hey.
The skies again. Brian Searle hasn't been put off microlighting by his near-death experience. He's had surgery to put a plate in his broken arm and broke several other bones after his aircraft smashed.
Do you know why he maybe crashed it? He was trying to account for the curvature. Skyfly Bry believed in his idiotic wee brain that there was curvature there, although aircraft would never work on a curve, you know, that makes the assumption that the Earth's a level plane. It's documented in, you know, every aspect and manual of flight. Right, that's the geometric assumption. But old fucking Mr. Bean here, he went up the microlight. Oh, I better adjust for curvature. And fucking smacked it right into the ground. Because he's a moron. This is what happens to you when you don't think properly.
Smashed into the ground. It could have been much worse, but the machine took the full impact of the crash. Brian had been...
It could have been much better, you mean? It could have been much better, no much worse.
Carrying out a safety test when suddenly the microlight rolled over in mid-air.
I tried frantically to try and right the machine. It wouldn't come back around. Eventually I saw the shadow of the aircraft and realised I was still upside down at this point.
He needed the shadow of the aircraft to realise he was upside down. His senses are all fucking all over the place. Doesn't know his arse from his elbow. So he didn't even realise he was upside down. A shadow told him he was upside down, if that makes sense to anybody, I don't know.
When I saw the shadow on the ground, and it was directly below me, there were some power cables, and I thought, oh no. I was very frightened at one point. But what can I do? I was stuck with this situation.
Were you trying to make fucking crop circles, Bry? Is that what you were up to?
As best I could.
Brian managed to steer clear of the cables but careered into a cornfield. Fortunately, some walkers saw him. Police at the scene couldn't believe he was alive.
I don't know that much about sort of microlights, but certainly I would have thought falling 2,000 feet out of the sky and coming straight down like a stone, I think he's extremely lucky to escape.
Like flying of any country in the world.
Brian's just concentrating on getting better. Nearly losing his life hasn't put him off.
Well, I'm afraid to say it never worked. He lost his marbles altogether. He now runs about harassing people on Tinterwebs because they won't accept, you know, his faulty conceptual worldview of an absurdity. So he instead harasses people. So does anybody know this dude? Say hello to him. If you know, if you're nearby. Oh, Skyfly here. Look at the size of the fucking nips, son. Huh?
Not at all, no. I should be up again, obviously, when I'm fit and well.
Aye?
And hopefully that'll be before the end of the year.
Once you're fit and well, you go on Tinterwebs and start fucking harassing people. You absolute maniac. Oh dear, Skyfly. Fucking wee shame. Aye. So, before I roll another smoke, let me just get this piece of absolute brilliance up here. This was absolutely incredible. This was, you know, the conspiracy cats and his wee buddies now, the ones that he's saving. This was the latest from him. It was wonderful. And very interesting. So this is in reference to what I was speaking about a minute ago. This is what I'm saying. You know, remember what we just spoke about. You know, and how these people and their faulty reasoning run about with confidence. It's just stupidity, and they're quite, you know, carefree about spreading the stupidity to whoever they like, and they'll pat each other on the back, promote each other. You know, as we'll see in the comment section, there's a fellow Scot in here known as Alan, ALK, wee tiny short guy, right? Cuts about the motorbikes. Seen me a couple of times, but was too scared to come and speak to me because he's a bit of a gobshite. He's one of these kind of Charlie Zelenoff people, a big guy on Tinterwebs, likes to bump his gums about people and spread nonsense about you, and then doesn't like it when you do it back to him. You know, so these are the types of people I'm talking about. Where I arrived on this whole topic, you know, trying to keep it like, you know, it's objective, let's remain objective, and slowly but surely, you know, to mine, you know, I take responsibility myself, wearing to the point where you just go, well, fuck it, I'm just going to throw them back. But these people need to remember that they crossed the line first. So these people are going to have to lie in that bed because they're the ones that came antagonising. And now I'm going to Charlie's Ellen off them. What did you think was going to happen? You think you were just going to remain invisible forever? It's not how the world works. There's always somebody out there willing to stick you in, show your face, let me know where you are. And that's just tough titties. So these people will be Charlie's Eleanoft. I want to see their wee petty lip tremble as they're confronted in actual reality. So, we'll see how they congratulate each other. Remember what I was talking about, you know, are we going with the scientific method? Are we going with practicality? You know, what's your reasoning processes? What is it you're taking on board and how are you arriving at the conclusion you've arrived at? There has to be a process in there and it has to be logically sound. If it's not logically sound, it has to be based in some sort of quantifiable measurability, you know, some sort of demonstration, so you can spew your words and then you can show me in a practical fashion. And your words may be wrong, but I'll understand when I see the practical reference. So, saying that, and we understand that, this is new, this is the man, this is the understudy of the guy known as Conspiracy Cats, who Conspiracy Cats has saved from his own stupidity, the guy that removes all responsibility and blames the whole world for his idiotic thinking, and now he's running about professing he's going to save everybody else with his science that proves that the earth beneath your feet is curved. There's people upside down to you right now, and bodies of water all bent around it and all this stuff, and this is the type of thing that convinces them, and this is what they call science. So we're sharing.
Oh, lovely people, it is seek truth and speak truth. I just have a little observation for you. It's the moon. It's a street lamp over there. This is the moon.
So far, the natural phenomena that we can establish is light in the sky that has a label attached to it that we refer to as moon. So far, this is the natural phenomena.
Hopefully you can see it. Not the greatest of views, but basically the angle, as you can see, the sun is shining on it.
Is it? So again, we've got, there's a natural phenomena, and then we've got an assertion that's been made. Sun is shining on it. How did you quantify that? Is the question that should be asked next. How did you come to that conclusion? What is the process of your conclusion? Can you lay it out for us? And we'll see in the comment section.
Beneath where I am standing, obviously now lighting up the other part of the globe.
So was that, wait a minute.
Only the other part of the globe. Now sort of beneath where I am standing. From now sort of beneath where I am standing.
Fuck, what the fuck?
But basically the angle, as you can see, the sun is shining on it. From now sort of beneath where I am standing.
So many assumptions being made here. It's the sun. The sun's now beneath his feet. Again, I would love to know the processes of how this conclusion, you know, how did you come to that conclusion? What is your, you know, scientific endeavour here?
Obviously now lighting up the other part of the globe.
So in that, you know, there's an assumption, an assertion being made that light in the sky, sun shining on it, sun shining on light in the sky, therefore Earth's a globe. This is the globe science, by the way. This is globe, deep, intellectual science.
Only possible on a sphere.
And it's not only possible on a sphere. Again, how did you test that and come to that conclusion? How did you look at the light in the sky and then formulate a quantifiable measurement of curvature upon the earth that you stand upon and the immense amount of standing bodies of water that are now apparently all curved?
I know we're told we can't look up, but that's why you're told it, because it's the easiest way to prove we...
Who said you were not allowed to look up? I don't remember anybody ever saying, don't look up. The question is asked here again. This is a thing that these people just don't listen. The question has been asked, and I'm going to ask the question again, as I have done many, many times before. What is the relevance of the objects, apparent objects above your head? How do you get a quantified measurement of what is beneath your feet based upon looking at these apparent objects above your head? Again, we need the scientific layout. How did you get to your conclusions? Can we see some quantification of how you got to that conclusion? So far, I've just got some bewildered guy pointing a camera at the sky, and in the sentences that he's gave us in the first minute and a half, there's about 5 assumptions and assertions that have been made that came to the conclusion of that can only happen on a globe.
Live on a sphere. Watch the moon, learn about it. You may think that it isn't reflecting the sun's rays.
Has the reflection or non-reflection, does any of these things have any bearing? Does anything above you define the earth or give you quantification of the earth's dimensions? No, it bloody well does not. It is not only illogical, it's not even anywhere near scientific. It's anything but scientific. This is the work of bewildered cult disciples who have been taught pseudoscience, sophistry, and are now trying to, poison the rest of the populace with their complete and utter lunacy. Well, at the same time, pointing at people like me who point this obvious nonsense out to them and calling me a loony. You can call me whatever you like, but the point of the matter is that you cannot reason with somebody like me because you're unreasonable, you're irrational, illogical, bordering on mentally retarded, if not fully blown mentally retarded.
It definitely is. If you ever see the sun and the moon in the daytime sky, hold up a reflective ball or sphere, and it will show the exact...
How do you know that the moon isn't responsible for the thing that you call the sun? I mean, again, how are you establishing these cause and effect relationships between apparent bodies that are not tangible? You can't get them in 3 dimensions. They appear to you as 2-dimensional. You're only looking at them. And in this, apparent scientifical stuffsies, how are you accounting for the apparatus that you're using, that being your eye, or the device that's based upon your eye but absolutely nowhere near as complex? How do you account for the function of those? Can you lay any of this out? Can we get any specifics? Please.
Phase of the moon. The Earth's not flat. Keep it global.
So again, the Earth's not flat. You would have to define what you mean by flat. The Earth is demonstrable level. That's where we start. The fantastical, out there claims that are being made is that it's a curved ball. That's the fantastical claim. Now, we ask for, either practical reference or, some sort of scientific hypothesis based on natural phenomena so that you can lay out for us, your conclusions, so that we can then run through those tests to see if the conclusion was indeed correct. So, can you offer that? So, I was being a wee bit, sarcastic, as I always do here. This is very scientifical. The hypothesis and the testing was outstanding. The other aspect that blew me away was when you just looked up at it. It projected out a quantified demonstration of Earth's curvature. Man, you are a real logical scientific dude. The reason I'm being like that is in the hopes that, he'll be able to see, oh, well, that guy's, actually making sense here. I'm not really thinking properly about this. But here we will see that he's one of these guys that's obviously, part of a wee agenda, because there is no reasoning, there is no logic, there is no science. It's just waffle. So, I've pointed this out. I'll just leave a comment I got from somebody in Rhode Island. See if I can get your head around it. Yep, I can see a half moon right now pointing down. Funny how the moon can tell me the sun is below my feet. Again, somebody's looking up at a light in the sky. They make all sorts of assumptions and assertions, and all of a sudden the sun is below their feet. And in one video, you're flat earth debunked. What's my flat earth? I don't have a flat earth. Again, looking at your language, I have to say, okay, he's trying to attach some preconceived, propaganda model of a flat earth, and he's trying to attach it to me like I represent the propaganda, when it's, again, another sign of his serious dishonesty. I know you always say you can't look up to quantify the ground we stand on. You can't. It's an absolute absurdity. You either say that to deceive people or you actually believe that. No, it's just a fact. The problem is you're being asked. You're being asked to now quantify and run through all the processes that helped you come to your conclusion. Pointing a camera, making illogical assertions and assumptions to then spew some sort of conclusion is nothing to do with science, son. It's not even logical. It's just total lunacy. The reason I'm highlighting this, guys, this is a representation of how quite a lot of people think. We've seen this evident even when I go to the universities and apparent academia. This is some of the illogical idiot thinking that comes from people, and this is all because they're being mistaught. They're being taught from occult lies. So it's all fudged. It doesn't hold together. There is no real quantifications. There is no practical references. It's just stories. Also, I'm not sure if you think the moon is self-illuminating, etc. All techniques Eric Dubious uses, and again, he's misrepresenting some other guy. He's also trying to tie me with some other guy. Although I'm an individual, Eric's an individual, he represents him, I represent me. But we've got these guys trying to lump us all together like we're some sort of organisation, when it's nothing could be further from the truth. In the hope of stopping us realising the absolute gold we have up in our skies, which easily debunk FE. So again, I don't know what you think's going on up in the sky, and I don't know what FE you're talking about. It's up to you now, Dale. Can you rap? Nothing's up to me. You've offered absolutely nothing. So this is this Scottish guy, this Alki, kind of junky, tiny wee guy with wee man syndrome. I think he was an understudy of a guy, Five Red Pears, who me and Marty absolutely ripped the pish out of a good number of years ago. And I think he was his replacement or something, or his understudy that was sent out to spew jargon. That's you being told by someone who has never done anything scientific in his life. Well, hang on a minute. I have offered up so much. I have demonstrated stuff. I demonstrated a substance to you. And you laughed at the practical demonstration, something that's quantifiable, that you can recreate yourself, but you're too bloody stupid and lazy. and you want to palm it off by saying word salads, by using language, you try and omit and ignore practical references. Now again, somebody like Al Kay, with the scientific method or with some demonstrations of physicality, can you justify your hand-waving dismissals of the practical references that have been offered to you in regards to the substance known as water and its physicality and its behaviour? Can you do that, Al Kay? I doubt it. You're too busy in here cheerleading a poor lost soul and quite happily using him as a wee tool for your own religious bias. Never mind the caring or compassion or trying to raise his intelligence. You're quite happy to have him as dumb as you and as dumb as the rest of the Globe disciples, as long as he's spewing the pseudoscientific word salad jargon that suits your wee bias. I don't think it's anything to be proud of, Al Kay, son. So this guy was genuinely looking forward to the answers. Spoiler alert, don't expect much. He doesn't understand how the moon can be lit up at night. Al Kay, let's get it out in the open here. What has the moon? I make no claims about the moon or any of these things other than you cannot establish the dimensions of the earth beneath your feet by referencing any of these apparent objects above your head. You know that. But you continually go to avoid and lie, to deceive. I used to think the same, mind you, thinking two-dimensional in a three-dimensional world. Your vision's two-dimensional. Seek truth, speak truth. Seek truth, speak utter rubbish. Right? That's why when we talk about purely visible phenomena, we're into the realms of vision. We're looking at the geometry of vision. Vision has to be quantified if we're using purely visible phenomena, which is all your wee moon thing is. What amazes me about that one is we have tons of examples all day, every day of multiple objects lit from one side. Again, what has this got to do? What Al Kay is basically trying to, dupe people into here is that he has a presupposition and assumptions, and he then looks for anything that will align with that bias. There is no scientific rigour in it. There's no hypotheses followed by, testing. There is no demonstrable, representation. There's no physicality to any of this. There's nothing quantified. Absolutely diddly squat. Nothing. Lights in the skies, assumptions, shadows, whatever. So I'm saying, and here he is, the junkie alcoholic, encouraging this poor man further into his stupidity. Is this a scientifical proof, say Al Kay? This is great material for tonight, thanks for this. So he just focuses on the junkie alcoholic. Seems like you just can't open your mouth without talking complete and utter bollocks. Well, I'm afraid to say, son, you started all this rubbish. You people that you want to get personal and start all that because you're a liar, a manipulative, lying little shit stain, and then you don't like it because I'm better at it than you. When I start the rubbing, okay, we don't need to rub anything. We don't need to focus on anything personal whatsoever. Just stick purely to the objective question. Start laying out how you came to your conclusions. Let's see it. So he's just ignoring. He's not got anything to offer. I've asked him, is this scientific? He's just avoiding it. So I'm just ignoring his comment. No, I'm not ignoring your comment.
Give me a cup and I'll make your tea.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's cooling down, isn't it?
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Your comments have been addressed in great detail now. So we all await you laying out the scientific, application of the scientific method or some practical reference, some quantifications of how you came to your conclusion. That would be wonderful, thanks. So Al Kay's still going on here focusing on rubbish, absolute rubbish. He blundered through failure into YouTube in his late 30s and started making a complete ass of himself, making a bunch of ignorant claims. I don't make ignorant claims, okay. I've demonstrated, I've made claims about factual aspects of your reality, son. If you want to refute them, you better start producing some practical references. And continues to do so after 5 years of nothing but shouting and talking shite. Are you suggesting that he used to be smart enough to understand basic geometry, physics, etc.? Okay, you don't understand geometry whatsoever, son. Every aspect of practical applied life utilises Euclidean geometry. That means we assume a level plane beneath our feet. That's the ground we start upon. That's the geometry we use in physical, three-dimensional reality. Physics, demonstrations. Physics means physicality. So that means when we make claims, we're duty-bound under the rules of physics to lay out the practicality, the integers, the apparatus, the demonstration of physical substance that supports your conclusion. So you ignore physical substance. Water finds its level. Rubbish. Water bends round spheres. Okay. How did you come to that conclusion? Ships through optical devices look as if they're going over a curve. Therefore, my scientific approach is I see something and I make assertions and assumptions and I run about tinterwebs and reality and tell children Earth's globes. That's no physics, okay? That's just your idiotic cult stupidity, son. So, if you think the demonstrations of me in water were that ridiculous, let's see your quantified demonstration. I made the predictions. I demonstrated that I could predict water and that I could utilise it as a very accurate measuring tool, more accurate than any other man-made instrument. And lo and behold, it's a fact. But you don't like facts, especially because they conflict with your religious, idiotic bias. So now we're just on to mere emotional word salad, rubbish, emotional gibberish, rubbish. Right. So I just gave him it back. You're on here encouraging a poor boy to be even more stupid than he was. I have offered up quantifiable demonstrations of how a substance behaves. That understanding is then applied to real-world activities. Here you are cheerleading for a moron with a camera, pointed at a light in the sky and asserting it proves the earth we are upon is curved. I am going to rip the pish right out of you two utter mongs later tonight. Here I am. True to my word. You're a fucking embarrassment, son. Can't wait to see your trembling petty lip, which I will. Lol, you want to provide some proof that I'm a junkie, so he's just back to this, right? This is how he operates. You pour water in basketballs and can't understand how the moon is lit up. Well, again, that's a demonstration of a substance. A claim's being made to me that bodies of water can conform to the exterior of shapes and objects, that the topography of what is beneath the body of water can be displayed upon the surface of said body of water. I made demonstrations, I have made numerous demonstrations showing you this. And again, you're too pig ignorant and stupid and lazy to look at it, try it for yourself, and then accept an aspect of your objective reality. It's funny you bring up quantification, as it appears you don't have a fucking clue what it means. Okay, you're on here lauding a boy with a camera pointed at an apparent object above him, making all sorts of assumptions and assertions. Coming to a conclusion, by the way. I know exactly what it means. You don't. Does he watch my dumb ass? But he knows a hell of a lot about me. So don't bother with your bog standard boring as fuck baiting techniques, blah blah blah. Mere emotional drivel. Aye. He's got a right fucking unhinged emotional fucking angst for me, isn't he? Maybe he's got some tendencies in there. He's that frustrated, I don't know. So, still nothing of any articulation from any of them. There's no quantification. There's no laying out of, how they came to the conclusion they did, using substance, using measurement, using practicality. Nothing. Here he is, cheering it on, supporting any old pish, religious bias. Oh damn, you got me there. You're right, I've got you. You're pinned right to the wall here, son. This is what you're showing. Mere rubbish. And that's it, that's as much as I can be bothered fucking showing. So this is what I'm saying. This is what starts to happen. This is how people become so confused and bewildered. Right? They don't understand the language. They don't understand what science actually is, and then how to separate what people are professing as science. Because there's different categories. When we're talking about objectivity, we're talking about the natural sciences. We're talking about physics, chemistry, biology. The sciences that deal with stuff, things, materials, how the material behaves, what it's made up of, what its relationship is to some other material, how we can utilise that to affect our lives, to make life easier, to adapt it, to further it, to better it. When it comes to the globe, it's not about the natural sciences. The globe is not about the natural sciences. The globe is about the science of concept, interpretation, imagination, sophistry. Again, if you go and you look for the 5 best proofs that the Earth's a globe, what you will get is sticks in the ground, assumptions about stuff in the sky, shadows on apparent objects in the sky, pictures on your TV screen, and a couple of other ones that are just the same. So how about up here? Up here is in the realms of vision. It's not in the realms of physics. Because you're no using them in 3 dimensions. You can't quantify them. You can't demonstrate any aspect of them physically. And again, absolutely nothing up here defines or gives quantification of assertions and claims being made about what we stand upon and the substances therein. Absolutely nothing. Diddly squat. These people need to start having a look at that properly, because their dishonesty is very, very apparent, crystal clear. While at the same time they stand in defiance, pointing the finger at me, saying I'm the charlatan, I'm the liar, I'm dishonest, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other. Again, I'm not interested in your emotional ramblings. If you have cold hard facts, that being demonstration, quantification, tangibility, practicality, please bring it. Thank you. So, this is what I'm saying. This is what people really need to understand. Right? We'll be getting to the trivium and the systems that we can utilise in regards to, our reasoning processes, logic. Okay? And how we filter through information to come to conclusions. And we have these systems that, if you understand them, eradicate sophistry, bullshit, so that you can get to the root of things. Now again, as you can see in these examples, there is no processing. It's just illogical assumptions, sophistry, assertions, and then slap bang over the top of it as a conclusion. As I said, it's no even logical, and it is absolutely nowhere near scientific. Not only that, we've not even got to things like Earth's a globe, pressurised with gas, and the medium that it exists in is a vacuum. How did you come to that conclusion? Well, as you go up, there's less pressure, and I've seen guys on the TV with wee suits on, and they showed me that they were in the medium known as the vacuum. Alright, so there's your hypotheses there. You've seen stuff in the telly. There is no rigorous testing in between, and you've just slapped a conclusion on the top of it. Wonderful. Now somebody like me comes along and goes, hang on a minute. Medium vacuum, pressurised environment, no membrane between us and the vacuous empty space, that being a lower pressure than the pressure we exist in. Now, what I do there is I go, I'm going to go to physics now. I'm going to go to my real world surroundings, and I'm going to see how that claim stacks up. And then I go, right, okay, there is no vacuum in nature. So right away I've got a problem. But if I extend my remove my disbelief for a wee minute, suspend it, I go, right, I'm going to lend them it. What I'll do is, right, I'll try and make some sort of vacuum. Right, now, what do I need to make a vacuum? That's right, I need a chamber. Are they claiming that there's a chamber surrounding this vacuum? No, that's right, they're just saying it's infinite or something. All right, well, got another problem there. We'll forget that. I'm trying to do them favours continually. Right, I've made a vacuum, or as best a vacuum as I can get now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to partition it, and I'm going to put gas in one half of it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the partition, and I'm going to observe and test it. If I can keep the pressure on this side while remaining a vacuum on this side, and then I find that doesn't happen, it just instantly equilibrates. And then they're going to come back and say, aye, but then we get excuses. They just add on mere excuses because it's no scientific. It's just rubbish. They'll say, that's because Earth's got this magic stuff called gravity that's got this function, and the only way I can demonstrate the claim I made previously to you is to go out of the reference frame, away from here, so that I can show you in some imaginative. And you're calling that science. Again, just like the picky nose, it is a science. They're practicing a science of stupidity, practicing a science of lies. And the more you practice your lies, you get better at it. You find subtle ways to convince people. It's known as sophistry. But again, I'm the nutter. And any of you out there that understand what I'm saying, you're a nutter apparently. These people are all sane and rational. Forget what else I was going to say, I'm sure it'll come back. So, this is the reason why I will never get an honest interaction from people like Conspiracy Cats or any of these known globe proponents. Never. Because I understand, and they know I understand, they're bullshit. They can only affect the bewildered, the people who are not committed to their own discernment, who dig in and understand things for themselves. They're too busy listening to other people, getting just a wee bit of something enough to make them go, oh, I'm part of this club now, and then I'll just hide behind another personality and I don't really need to understand it for myself, and then I can be influenced by whoever. You're the scientist. Your discernment belongs to you. Understand what I'm saying. Incorporate it into your own being so that you can then eradicate and identify liars. You'll never get an actual physicist, a man or a woman who deals with physical substances. There'll never be one of them that sits in front of me that will try and assert to me that standing bodies of water bend. Because magical reasons. They're no physicists. That's why the globe always uses theoretical physicists, astrophysicists, reference frames that are removed from us, imaginative, conceptual reference frames that's got nothing to do with your living. Absolutely nothing to do with it. Because a person with integrity and intellectual honesty who's involved in real physics understands what I'm saying. Understands that if they came up to me They would have nothing. Absolutely nothing. I would be the one standing with all the cards, with the practical references demonstrating how these claims are absurd. And these physicists could never deny them. If they deny them, they're just dishonest. And again, using the process that I've laid out for you, we'd be able to question their reasoning to see how they're coming to the conclusion, and we would find that their reasoning is totally flawed. It's based on imagination, wishful thinking, all brought on because of a religious preconceived bias that they want to keep reaffirming because they're scared. Gravity. This is the other aspect. This again is they talk about shine, sludge of motion and all that, and then they want to ridicule when I point out, well, motion can only be caused by something applying a pressure to something else. Then they want to invoke mystical, magical forces that can cause all sorts of, physics denying behaviours. And then I asked them for the mechanisms of how this apparent force or thing interacts with other objects, because understanding the laws of motion, this stuff doesn't fit. As I've pointed out so many times, you can't affect some other object without some sort of influence on it. I can't bring the TV towards me with magic. I need something to extend from me, either to attach onto the front of it. So therefore, that becomes an extension of me, and then I can bring it towards me using some sort of lever device to wind it in. Or I can take some sort of rigid thing, place it over the back of it, apply a pressure to the back of it, and press it towards myself. Or anything else in the natural environment. But they want to invoke motion and acceleration by totally idiotic, absurd mechanisms that don't even exist. And again, they laugh at it. They try and ridicule it. When we go away from practicality and we're just into explanations, just words, that's wrong. And this is what I'm saying to you. Every aspect of the globular earth concept is based purely upon language. It's not got any practical references. You can't quantify it, demonstrate any aspect of it, because it does not exist as a three-dimensional, tangible thing. Every other aspect of anything that's tangible in reality can be scaled accurately and demonstrated using the very same substances. So right there and then, can you scale, model the globular earth? No. Why? Back to... I need to go to some alternative reference frame that's out with reality, right? So we're now knowing the natural sciences anymore. We're now back to imagination land. It's all very clear, very, very easy to see and understand if you're willing. So everything about our life, lived life, our commonalities, our constitution, our senses, our experiences in life, every single aspect of that is telling you, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that you do not exist on the exterior of a globular, curving earth. But people deny it and doubt it because of the power of language, ideas, concepts, images on a screen. It's just a big cult, a big religion. That has its wee language, its wee texts, its wee hypnotic symbols. Ooh, look at my stuff, it's real. Bloody rubbish. So I will have no more of it. Thank you very much. These dipshits better start providing some quantifiable demonstrations, all these conclusions that they're coming to, how are they getting to them? Question it. If you're still a person out there that's coming to conclusions, how are you getting to these conclusions? I've highlighted the absurdity of your reasoning, so why are you still trying to defend it? Sorry. Hello?
Hi, sweetheart, you busy?
I'm on live right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Alright, I need to talk to you about something.
No worries. Right, I'll give you a wee phone later.
Right,
Right.
it's maybe a papa.
Okie doke. Right, I'll speak to you soon, right? Okay, bye bye.
Right, bye then.
So, this is it. This is everything I've ever spoke about. And again, you make the decision. Are people like me unreasonable? Are we asking for too much? But these aspects of, as I've said before, when I say bum sniffer or fucking moron or this and that the other, it's not an ad hominem, it's not a personal attack. It's based on the reasoning that they're offering me up. And when I see faulty reasoning like that and stupidity like that, that's what I'm targeting. I'm not targeting these people on any personal levels. It's not about persons, it's not about a personal thing. Right? It's no egos or any of that stuff involved. Although the aspect of ego for me is that I'm never going to fold or show any weakness to these clowns. As I say, from where I come from and my upbringing, you don't just accept people trying to antagonise you. You give back as good as you get. Right? So that's why that stuff comes from me like that. Just because I'm not going to bend to these clowns, a lot of their game is psychological. Right? They're trying to wear people down. They're trying to intimidate you. Make you doubt your own sanity, gaslight you. And as I've said before, I have a serious, vicious contempt for manipulators like that. I will always spit venom right back at them. So should you. There is no passive way to deal with people like that. Is that what you're going to teach your children? Roll over, let them stamp all over the top of you. Fuck that. Fuck that. It's not going to serve them well in this reality at all. We don't live in an ideal situation here. It's all fluff and roses and all that. That's not what's happening. So if these people can remove the cult mentality of antagonising, trying to play psychological games and all that stuff, bring it. Let's see if you're capable. Look forward to it. Conspiracy Cats, the rest of you, Simon, Dan, any of you out there, send me an email. I will come and I'll have a reasonable, rational, mannered discussion with you that we can put on camera. We'll talk about all the aspects. We'll see how we're coming to the conclusions. We'll see what practical references we have to support the conclusions that are being made. I really want progress. I don't think these people do. I think if they invite an open discussion about it, they know that it's going to unravel, and this is why they put up the fight that they put up. Because if they were really honest and it was really about objective truth, they would be partaking in what I'm offering up, because they would want it resolved. That's what they keep shouting about. But yet we don't see any attempts at resolving it. I know they're actors, come on. People should know me by now. It's the same as I done the video yesterday. I can't believe the amount of people that were asking serious questions about my video yesterday. I mean, have you not been paying attention? What's happening now is you're getting people that are just sellouts. You get people who have no integrity. You get people appearing with the likes of conspiracy cats. Do these people have no integrity whatsoever? They're not interested in truth or any of that stuff. They're swayed by what they think's popular. They're swayed by influence. So they see like these people grouping together to make hit piece videos about people like myself. So that influences them. They start to forget their own integrity, their own intellectual honesty and the questions they're asking. They start getting swept up. Oh, well, I'm just going to go with the popular side. Because if I go with the popular side, then the target's no on me because I'm not strong enough to take it. And now that I'm in with the popular side, maybe the popular side can put some subs my way and I might get more popular and I can monetize my channel and I can become a somebody and all that rubbish. They're just using you. They're going to drop you like a fucking hotcake once they've used you. Then where are you going to be? If you want to build a successful channel and have a bit of integrity, then you have to display that. You have to walk that walk. They'll just target the weak. So anyway, said what I've said. If you want progress, you should understand who I am now. I'm not unreasonable. Let's bring it. Let's see what you've got. From now on, I'm just going to constantly hammer and highlight the illogical, non-science that's being offered. So I say, the reason they don't want to entertain somebody like me is because they know that it's going to start to unravel very quickly. Anyhow. How are we all? Who's here? Tachyon Boy, One Man He's Detector, Red Pill Suppository, West Coast Wisdom, how you doing? Party Pack, how you do? Selling Alien, Flat Sky, TP in a Tree, Christy89, how you doing? Big Red, Zamael, Mr. Teddy Bear, Spirit of Longform, Nether Wormington, Paul E. Dale, can we not get hold of someone in Australia alive just to show the trolls that something is wrong with the sun and moon being at both locations? We've done it. Me, Meryl and Andrew, Execrate 200, have showed the footage. The sun was here in my sky visible and the sun in Andrew's sky, New Zealand, was visible at the very same time. It's been done. Steve HV, how you doing? Steve HV is looking to be saved as well by some of these messiahs, by the way. We all want to be saved. Come and save us all. Put us all right with your quantifications and your practical references. G Roach, I'm good. Case dismissed. Telling degenerates, how you doing? Schmiegel. I never showed you the beginning of that. And maybe when we get to the end, I'll pull it back up and I'll let you hear when I first went into that wee chat room, right? Remind me. Because it's great. Rickus Vaticus, how are you, buddy? Matthew Wayne. Dale, yeah, that's me. AB, do you know how gravity works in video games? Can the same way be applied to this reality? No idea, mate. I don't know how they program video games. I'm not that, I don't have any knowledge at all of tech like that, to be honest with you. You need to ask somebody else, mate. Sorry, I can't help you. Fuck with him. Andrew Calvert, Emerald Rider, how are you? The sun was visible in Canada the same day exactly. Boris Chops, Jacques Hopes, jumped again. Peter Cab. Right, so we're now at that point. I'm going to check my emails to see if anybody's got anything they want to discuss. Scott Walker, Dale, I work for a major chemical company and I know that without a hard boundary, the so-called vacuum would soak the pressurised half towards it, especially when that pressure is so light at altitude, mate. Hope that makes sense. Well, we know that, Scott. It's not that the vacuum soaks anything. It's just that the higher pressure will move to that region Again, we just have to be very careful with some of the words that we use, some of the language aspects, but of course, mate, this photo, when I can get it to you, will at least show I inadvertently found a flat Clyde over a measured distance. The sky has nothing to do with non-curation, so I hope to get the tangible evidence to you soon. Cheers for showing me what Sophie's reaction is, mate. No worries, Scott. On a lighter note, all the best to you and your family from Scott Walker, the Inverkip chimney guy. Messaged you recently, mate. You have never professed the earth to be either shape or form, but you know that water cannot curve because it must need a containment at some boundary to keep the liquid from escaping into a puddle of water at any scale, bud. So not all Scots are dafties like the alley guy. Hope to get the image of the chimney to you soon, big man. Perfect, mate. I look forward to it. So again, anybody that's, you know, getting to want to discuss with me, you need to send me an email. I'm no longer posting the live link into the chat box. That's just not going to be happening. We get a barrage of cult lunatics who just want to disrupt because the little faulty religious worldview is being threatened. And the reason that there's such a furore around it is because there's so many manipulative liars who have got a benefit coming into them through this lie, this bullshit of the globular earth. It's massive industry. There's loads of coin to be made. So, you know, when people are offering a faulty product, they will do anything to perpetuate the coin coming in for their faulty product, and they'll try and protect it. That's just unfortunate for them. They should have thought about that before they started telling fucking bullshit. Don't care. Your big industries, NASA, the space agencies, they can't be lying. No. Well, of course they're lying. Physics, real demonstration, will show you beyond any shadow of a doubt that they're telling you fucking lies. This is the problem again, when you're no discerning for yourself and you don't understand the language that's being used or the scientific processes to come to conclusions. If you do not go through those processes, you will be swayed by nonsense. Oh, I just can't believe it. Oh, but I see it on my telly, like there it's here. There's this round circle thing on my TV. What's this guy talking about? Oh, physics, fuck that. I see it. Great. Fucking wonderful. Right. I'm out of tea, I'm out of smokes. So, I've said what I was going to say. I can't remember if it was something else I wanted to talk about. There are a few things. I've got a video there that I'll maybe upload the next couple of days. Something totally different. It's got nothing to do with the earth shape stuff. But it's some wee things that I want to start having a look at. Some avenues that people can maybe pursue. So I'll put that up soon. I'm not going to say anything about it because I want it to be a surprise and I want to get all the attention for it. These rule books are only for us. It's total absurdity. And that's one of the other aspects I'll talk about. You know, they need something to transcend us in order to implement, you know, kind of laws and rules and regulations. You know, but at the same time, you know, they're trying to tell you that you came from soup with no rhyme or reason, that you don't have a consciousness and you're just a lumbering fucking robot. But yet we still have systems of accountability. These people are, you know, shooting themselves in the foot, playing a very risky game. You know, if you know, where do we get accountability, morality, all these things? Well, that's a discussion for another time. But they need day books to give us the appearance that we're being watched. That's the overseeing rules. Well, they just run about doing whatever the fuck they will. They don't go by fucking rule books. Their rule books, I'm going to do what I want, and I've got enough money and enough influence to get away with whatever I want, so fuck it. Unless I get millions of funding each day, they wouldn't lie. I know. But they'll lie. I've just showed you how they're lying. Stop being lazy now. This is a cognitive dissonance. Unless you're just joking. Check my email. Oh, Mr. Katz has emailed me back. Like I said in the first email, let's drop the sarcasm, then we can talk seriously. Oh, there'll not be any sarcasm when I come to meet you. I'm happy to meet to and film a discussion. Yes, been pressured into it, knows the pressure's on. But you need to show me you are capable of serious discussion. Oh, here we go. What do you want me to do? I'm quite capable. Have you not seen my interactions in reality? Huh? Do you not think that all the street interview stuff and how I conduct myself in actual reality is something to go by, son? Are you just going to try and make goalposts that you can shift so you can avoid it because you don't really want it to happen? I think that's your game. So email my game, but this time be serious. It's just looking for a way out. Whatever, son. You've been called out. You can do all this dancing all you like, sonny boy. You email me with a time and a place and I will be there. Chop chop. Ex-surveyor and school teacher. Okay, right, here we go. Copy. G Watts, the link is coming to you right now. Colin, I see you've sent me an email as well. I had to go with the first one here, so I'll send you a link as soon as we've had this guest on. I mean, this is the idea, say, you know, if you're just somebody that's serious, it's just, no worries, let's meet, like, let's arrange it, let's get it done. All this dancing and trying to make goalposts and all that rubbish, go away. Go away. Shut yourself in the foot with all this messiah rubbish and your willingness to save people, because I'm calling you on it. Save me. Meet me. Show me how you're coming to your conclusions. And let's get it filmed. No fucking about. That's it, Scheme, because I've seen that too. I've seen black holes, I've seen all sorts of weird and fantastical stuff on a TV screen. By Globe, reasoning and logic and scientifical, rigorous, you know, testing, that means that it's all real. Aye, take your children back. Take your children back. They're your responsibility. Don't let these fuckers fucking warp their perception. They have no fucking place. The only way, the reason they get away with it is because people allow it to happen. Make excuses. Oh, but I'm too busy, I'm too this, I'm too that. Well, she's fucking throw about that. She's fucking throw about that. Exactly, Jacques. It's all about winning. This is what I'm saying about these people that just jump to whatever they think's popular. They try and gauge it and go, oh, well, that side's going to win, so I'm just going to go there because then I can be popular. Absolutely no integrity whatsoever, these people. How you doing, eye level? Robert, how you doing, bud? What's that, Polly? It's been fixed for a very long time. A very long time. But as I keep saying to people, fuck this online stuff. Get out there in the real world, be a nuisance, talk about it, do whatever you have to do to make people stand up and take notice. That's the video I'm going to probably upload to my channel in the next couple of days. I'm warning you now, it's got nothing to do with the shape of the earth, but it's in regards to that. It's in regards to how people can make differences if they just pull together for commonality, for something real, and make the difference. That's it, Jacques. We don't need beliefs. This is it. People will be wrong when they adopt beliefs. You can guarantee that, because no all beliefs can be correct. So that's it for me. I don't want to run about my life thinking knowing I've got stuff wrong or having misconceptions about stuff. No, well, it's just a waste of time. Hello? I can hear something.
So I had to close the other window down. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, great, mate. Oh, Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you very much. Same to yourself, whatever that means.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to Phuket World the other day. He actually comes to my hometown in Thornbury. I live out in China. It's like 5:20 in the morning at the moment.
All right.
Just want to quick, I'm not here to antagonise. I'm going to tell you my flat, whatever it is, story. I first came into this about 3 years ago, and my background is I'm a professional surveyor. Well, I used to be. I'm over in China here. I'm just a teacher, and I just thought, what the fuck? Can I swear?
Of course you can.
So, okay, what the fuck's this bullshit? So of course you go into it, you start looking at it, and you just think, oh no, that's absolute dog shit. So then it started to sort of like, I've had the things like you have about how the hell can we have atmosphere around the globe and stuff like that, and it's there in your mind, but you can't put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah. And
so I'm 53 years old, and I've known that that the moon landings were bullshit for like 30 years, and but I never knew why it was bullshit. I never made that link. So anyway, the thing I clung to was satellites, and then once I realised that satellites were bullshit, I went out and spent it's about 2,500. I spent on a really good tripod and P1000. And I live in Guangzhou, so I'm not that far away from Hong Kong. So I'm going out there, staying in a hotel on the balcony, watching the ship sail away, and then zooming back and just going, oh, fuck, it's flat.
Right. Well,
honestly, man, you smoke more cigarettes than I do. I'm on about 3 packs a day. I wish I could get roll-ups out here in China, but I can't.
No.
I get a little pouch of Gold Virginia when I go across the border into Hong Kong. So, I don't want to spend too much money, but that's like my precious little gift.
Yeah.
Right. So that's it. I studied at the University of Central Lancashire. I qualified in 1998. Yeah, I am a qualified surveyor. But you never look that far. Yeah. You never look that far, man.
But what? I mean, obviously you understand me.
But sorry for battling again. But the question is, you're having all these fights with people that want to talk about the globe. I want to know what's next.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, that's the same for me, man. It's just that this is the situation we're in. We're still having issues of people understanding the language. It's an arduous process that's going on here. It's I spoke about this a long time ago. I want the next phase. I wanted it 6 months after I came to the realisation. That's why straight away I was shouting about the exploration, because that's what we require. So, for me, it's like the advertising's done. People are aware of the topic. Now it's about the quality of the interactions and the information that we share between each other. That's where the real damage will be done. Right now, there's still far too much misunderstanding, propaganda, muddying of the waters, false information. There's so much of it.
God.
Yeah, so,
I had a friend that I've known since he was 12 years old, so obviously a long time, and I started to talk about flat Earth, and he hung up on me instantly.
So what about the, obviously now you understand the geometric assumptions and the tools you were using in your surveying job. You can see clearly now that they were planar instruments.
Yeah. But it's to be fair, it's been a long time because I'm a building surveyor. I don't know if you know what that is. So land surveying was just like 6 months of my training. Of course, you had to do it on your job. You had to do a little bit of it. But of course, you were just looking at a little block, a little building. You weren't going out going, why would you question it?
Yeah.
Why would you question it?
What's that?
But my thing inside me is, oh my God, what next?
Mm-hmm.
So if we take the logic process a little bit further and say, yeah, it's flat, then you have to go to it's created, and then you have to go, what is it, the Quran? Do I have to study Buddhism? Do I have to, read the Bible? What's next?
Well, that's the point for me. Studying these books and these apparent historical, narratives and whatever else, it's irrelevant to me. I live now. What's next for me is exploration. Exploration of the limited places that we can go. We have to get to the outer reaches. We have to get to these areas. We have to establish what's actually going on. The rest, if we don't, we're just going to keep going in circles, listening to stories. So,
but now, see now that I know that it is not a ball.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. Do you remember the big rush we had with the skeptic community, like smashing the New Earth creationist guys over the head for years and years and years?
Yeah.
And it's like, I bet those creationists wished that they'd caught onto flat Earth and they could, because you don't. Like Sci-Fi Dan. I've seen a few. I can hardly watch them. It makes me want to. It's just like, oh my God.
That's because you've got. That's because you've got a bit of discernment.
And yeah, because here's the thing, right? I was saying to Phuket World, I haven't pronouncing it correctly, that I used to skive off school a lot as a kid, and I just think I must have broken the conditioning. I did all my university stuff off my own back. It wasn't like a progression through school.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to university till I was like 27, I think it was, something like that. So I was like, a mature student. Oh, good God. Now I'm a mature man, but, and I just think you just break the conditioning. If they're allowed to condition you, they're going to condition these people. And they're going to fight to it tooth and nail.
Yeah. But that's again comes to the responsibility of the parents then, doesn't it? Because as I say, children are innocent.
Because I spoke to my mother about it, because my father died back in 2013. And, she's a Christian. And I've had this with other Christians, and it's like, and they fight against me. It's like, it's in your fucking Bible. Just read the first couple of pages.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, for me, I don't go with that approach because, as I say, it's quite,
I know. Yeah, cool.
Let's get to the processes of the mind and understand the language, what is the scientific method, what are we talking about, and lay all that kind of stuff out for them, because that's they play them at their own game. They're trying to usurp the tools and that language and profess that it's theirs and that they're utilising it correctly, when in reality they're not. That it's our tools, and if we can convey that to other people, we can show them that it's on our side. It's no on the manipulative liars side, because they don't have anything. They don't have science, they don't have practicality, they have nothing. Diddly squat.
Yeah, that's another thing, you know. I've been in the labs, you know, with a scanning electron microscope. I've been doing all stuff with vacuum. My thesis was on trees for on extruded clay brick masonry. Really exciting, I know. But I'm using this stuff on a daily basis, and it's like, when I started learning about angular resolution, it's just like, holy shit, we can't see these stars. That's impossible. Oh my God, you know, a vacuum, that definitely can. And I was doing it on a daily basis, and it didn't. So how are we going to convince people that haven't done any science whatsoever?
Yeah.
How are we going to convince them?
Well, this is what I'm saying about.
I think
we got to represent it properly, understand it, and be able to articulate it properly, or else you're not going to do it any justice, you know. So that's why I always had the issue with these people. People thought I was being divisive and attacking them when, you know, my problem was always with, you know, these other supposed activists. Well, why do you have to incorporate, you know, faulty information? Why do you have to muddy the waters? It's not necessary. You're supposed to be refining it so that it's sharp and you know, unbreakable, so that therefore you can affect people in the right manner, you know. So it just comes down to people's responsibility again, you know. But who knows? We'll see how the future plays out, you know.
Anyway, I can see that you're frustrated about. I've watched quite a few of your videos. I can see that, you know, you're a bit pent up about it, and I am. But with me, I'm out in China. Do you think I'm, you know, my Mandarin, even though I've been here 6 years, because I work in English schools, of course, everybody speaks English. So my Mandarin is absolutely, you know, shit, basically. You know, I can get by, ask for a pack of fags, you know, get some beer or whatever like that. But what am I supposed to do here? You know, we've got all these Globe books in our schools, you know, because we're monitored by the Chinese government, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's like, every time a kid picks up one of those books, there's all stuff over the walls of globes and you know, Saturn and this, that, and it's just like, it's soul destroying, because I can't do anything here.
Yeah.
You know, what am I supposed to be like teaching kids? I'd get locked up in prison if I started to try and teach kids about, because that's another thing, right? If you look about these launch sites, I looked at it's Hainan Island that China launches from. What is it? Right next to the water.
Yeah, of course.
Right next.
Oh, but that's for public safety. That's so that if anything goes wrong, we don't hurt people. We'll drop missiles on them and we'll fucking poison them with all sorts of stuff. But when we're firing our wee space rockets, we need to be cautious. We don't hurt people's fucking rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, look it up. Look up where the launches go from China. It's Hainan Island.
Yeah.
I know where it is. I've been there, and it's right by the water.
Yeah.
And off they go, up, curve, splash down.
Of course.
Oh man, I'm too old to be pulling my hair out. I really am. But it's the whole thing is I just sorry I've you know I've had a few beers, but sorry the whole thing just blows my fucking mind, man. Just blows it.
Yeah.
It's like, how can people not see this? You know, you look at the space station stuff, you know, the ISS, and it's like, oh my God, it's so fake. And the moon landings, oh my God.
But it was on a TV.
And they...
Seen it on the telly though. So...
It was on the TV, yeah, it was on the TV.
So
yeah.
It's on the TV and they can't be lying because they wouldn't do that, you know, it's on the telly. Therefore... my logic, my scientific, you know, approach is that, you know, I believe them.
So this is how, you know, I've always known that 9/11 was, you know, being a surveyor and stuff, I know that was bullshit. So you had that first sort of injection of saying horribles. What is behind this? Why are these people fucking doing this?
No, that's the question.
And are they people?
That's
you know, I know we, you know, you're still fighting the good fight, trying to get people to, you know, get their head around the fact that we don't live in a ball.
Well,
I understand you do.
I asked the very same
but
questions. I'm the same as you.
I've kind of moved on.
No,
Go on, sorry,
everybody thinks that, you know,
Right.
people think they're moving on. You know, people forget that I've got a whole life's history of looking at all different aspects of conspiracies and, you know, the monetary system, the banking systems, the free man stuff, law. I've done it all, you know, but I've exercised my time with that, but I'm the same as you. I ask these questions, I go, what is really behind this? Is it just humans? Sometimes I struggle to perceive that it's just human beings acting alone,
Right.
you know, but I don't know.
Well, I was saying to Look It World that, you know, I had a close encounter thing back in, I think it was like 1982, 1983. And he actually knew one of the guys I was talking about. That was so funny, you know, because he comes to my hometown. It's only, you know, about 20,000 people. And that was like really weird when I started to talk about this encounter, and then he started to realise that, oh my God, we come from the same hometown. Anyway, he's a little bit younger than me. He's like 47. I'm sure you know him. He's made loads of YouTube, you know, as a content creator on YouTube for like flat earth stuff. And yeah, it's when all this stuff dissolves from you, I find it almost more disturbing than being comforted by, we come from monkeys. We just come from, you know, it's indescription. We're just floating around in it, you know, in the infinite space. And I was like, no, we don't. There's something, you know, it's, I don't have to put it into words really. It's just, yeah. So anyway, this close encounter I had, we were out, I'm sure you know what rabbiting is, and you know, back in the old days with guns and going out shooting rabbits and stuff, yeah. So we go into this field, and we, you know, you're not thinking about UFOs, and all of a sudden this massive triangles hanging over us. And these guys wouldn't talk about it for quite a few years. You know, I wanted to talk about it. I went back home, you know, hey, Dad, are this in a year? Of course, it's like, oh, go away, I'm not interested. But yeah, but here's the thing. I now know it's either our tech or things on a larger plane coming in. Because when you look at these old maps and like the land masses, you know, you've got these guys talking about, you've got this little disc and the sun and the moon revolving around it. I think, well, you're not really speaking for me here, because I think there's something far deeper going on.
Right.
I think it's far larger.
Right, well, that's what I tend to think of it as well, you know, so.
Yeah.
Who knows, mate? Who knows? Speculation in it, but.
I know, but it's fun and it's scary at the same time, the speculation.
Yeah.
Because I spent so many years being obsessed about UFOs, you know, following all these UFO guys and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like, that's bullshit. I was totally bought into, it wasn't about like so much about the globe, but it's like, you know, like UFOs and stuff. It's like, that's bullshit. Whatever it is not coming from outer space.
No, certainly not. You know?
No.
That's that, mate. So.
Anyway, man, if you've got another call, I'll let you go. You know, let me go.
I think there's a couple of people waiting to get in, mate. So.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to, you know, say that there are other sort of reasonably, because I've got an IQ of 138, there are other sort of reasonably intelligent people out there that realise now it's not a fucking ball. It's not a ball, guy. Anybody listening to me right now, it's not a ball, and you've been brainwashed. Okay, man.
Cheers, my man.
Have a good one.
You too, man.
Yeah, have a good one.
Take it easy, mate. Colin, Sean Hawkins, you failed to debunk my video and you blocked me so I couldn't comment in your live stream. Well, you're a coward loser. This is what I'm saying about these people. They're that fucking dumb. I recorded me trying to post comments to your comments and under your video, and they were immediately disappearing. Sean Hawkins, you mad junkie crackhead. Away you go, son. It was recorded. Go and watch the previous videos. I still have the recordings if you'd like me to send them to you. Documented, recorded, and these clowns will still just say the opposite and hope that it somehow passes off as truth. Fuck off. Absolute buffer. Colin Conroy. Colin, the link is coming right now. Oh, Colin's just said his family stuff's come up. No worries, mate. Aye, no worries, Scott. I get that, mate. I get that. No worries, bud. No worries. Colin, what are you saying here? Aye, Colin, we can talk about any of those or all of them if you like. Just let me know next time. We can get that happening, buddy. No sweat. So, right, my attention's back on the chat box for now. What have we got going on? Again, if you want to come in, you need to send me an email. So, what have we got happening? Flat Earth is one because we are uniting as one team. Unity is not going to happen until people start representing the facts. That's what unity should be about, the facts. Not about people coercing other people into wee groups and professing unity and all that rubbish. Unity for me is what you represent. Do you represent the facts? Do you understand how to articulate the facts? Good. Just go about your business then. I don't need to congregate with you in a big fucking meeting place to say, oh, look at us, we're a group and a community. Fuck off, maniac. If you keep spamming my chat box, I'm just going to block you. Don't spam my chat box. You're just a nutter. Bill, how you doing? As I celebrate my triumphant return to Paisley late March, 180-mile trip with friends. Lots of free roam cows, mate, and at all level. Nice one, buddy. Glad you had a nice wee day. I look forward to you coming, mate. Truth is not a democracy, exactly, Trackmatic. Right, he's not listening. You're spamming my chat box. You've been warned. Oh, a wee shout out. Mr. Cheswick's content at the moment is absolutely brilliant. So a wee shout out to Mr. Cheswick. I've been enjoying Mr. Cheswick's doing a series of The Wall, the Pink Floyd The Wall album. But obviously he's changing up the lyrics and adding some other visuals, and it's content that I hugely enjoy. This is again what I'm talking about. These are the valuable things. If we have different people producing good content, you know, all walks of life, utilising the same tools that they use to sell you rubbish products and keep you in a fucking stupor, then it's fucking brilliant. You know, art, creativity is an excellent way of getting your point across to people. So, worth checking out. If you want a friendly chat tonight in Mr. Sensible's channel, I don't know who Mr. Sensible's channel is. I don't know why you're coming here asking me if I want a chat. You can chat to me right now. Send me an email and have a chat. Now, the infrared shots are pretty interesting. Interesting visuals. What's whose name? Again, I'm not interested in personality battles here. I'm more interested in content. If content's good, content's good. That's it. That's as far as it goes. So all these people that try and cause fights or, you know, divisions, oh, you say his content's good, so therefore yes and that. If content's good, it's good. Well, I don't, it's Mr. Sensible trying to open up doors for this platform was here first. Open platform, come and tell me whatever you like. What are you trying to get me to go to other people's for? Fuck off. You're here. Click the email address above. Send me an email and you can have a chat to me right now. I don't even know who Mr. Sensible is. Let me see. Mr. Sensible. This looks like a fucking fight the fat tits type of guy. No thanks. Ram it right up your shitter. Come here and have a chat with me. Exactly, Trackmatic. That's the problem people have though. They've been sold this know-it-all attitude. We know the universe, we know the workings of the universe, we know everything there is to possibly know. So that's intimidating for people. People think they have to be this absurd, omnipotent, omniscient, all-knowing fucking type of being. It's just warping their fucking brain. There's only so much fucking capacity for one human being to have. Colon, you're welcome to come in here. You are welcome. So is Mr. Sensible or anybody else. Send an email. You come in, have a chat. You show manners, you show respect, you get the same in return. It's very easy. Right, we've got no other requests for links. I've not really got anything else to say. So you've got a couple of minutes if anybody wants me to shout it out or answer any questions from the chat box, and then I'm going to switch off. So, got a couple of minutes. I'll make my smoke actually. I wouldn't be happy if there was more land. Well, at least we had a bit of further knowledge though, AB, to be honest with you. As I say, I don't have a horse in the race. I don't have a preference for what it is. I don't have any expectation or any of that stuff. Just let's find out. Clever Cat, you sent me an email. Yeah, hold on a minute. Oh, so you did, fuck. I've still got that one open. Check I have a new hefty angle that if you apply logic to every aspect of your life, it's literally impossible to ever be wrong. As you would say, I don't know, when you don't. Exactly, man. That's what this process allows. It allows you to identify, it allows you to separate subjective, objective, and always come to arrive at the right conclusion. That being an understanding of the root of any issue. How did I come to realisation kicking the soccer ball? It burst.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I just find it odd that people base intelligence off of just mimicking and like vomiting up anything they see on TV or books or education, and then if you question what you're taught, it's like a religion to them. They fight it.
Yeah.
But they've never seen it themselves. They've never been there.
No.
They've never done experiments.
No.
It's just the same thing as a religion.
Exactly, and I totally agree, you know, on that aspect of how intelligence has been defined. For me, my gauge of intelligence is how self-aware somebody is. What level of self-awareness do they have? That's my mark of intelligence, you know?
Yeah, my thing is, I like talking to people that's like open to new ideas and trying to like just have an imagination. Like it's a sin now to have an imagination, you know?
Yeah. Nobody has imaginations anymore because they're stimulated by, you know, quick fix, you know, TV, iPads, phones, fucking Google, YouTubes.
Yeah. Everything's a quick fix.
Yeah, exactly. So say it's not that long ago when we were kids, you know, everything was about imagination. You only had your own self and, you know, very limited things. You had to get out into the real world, and we went out and played as children. Many children.
Then they sucked it out of you.
Yeah.
They put you in school, which is a prison.
Yeah.
They sat you down. They told you, don't be an individual.
That's right.
Copy what we show you. And if you don't, you're going to fail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the class clown was the smartest one in the room most times.
Probably, mate. The one that stayed in his bed, he was a good one. You know? As Billy Connolly said, there's a cracking wee sketch. I don't know if you know Billy Connolly, Scottish comedian. He does a wee sketch where he talks about, you know, the language that they used to use in Scotland, and there used to be a saying that went, "Woe betide woe betide the boy who doesn't do his homework." You know, and his response to that was, "Fucking good old Wobie." I quite like Wobie.
It's literally designed for you to fail too, because you go there and then you've got to deal with the kids. The teachers aren't watching the kids. They don't care what the kids are doing.
Yeah.
And they don't realize like what's going on in your life at the moment, or what your parents are doing to you, or anything. That's not even it. Like they're not getting paid enough to think that hard.
No, and your children are going to these environments where there's so much dysfunction from other children coming from other walks of life, abuse, trauma, you know, influence, and they're bringing it into this melting pot of interaction, and it's just affecting people left, right, and centre, and causing destructive patterns. You know. Because it's totally unguided.
It's just like I see in like this like flat Earth, globe Earth, which is like a duality thing to me. I want to be open and just figure it out myself and have my own opinions and my own ideas.
Yeah.
After like I come to a conclusion, but even when I come to a conclusion, I know that I don't know. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about. You have to go through a procedure. For me, if you're trying to establish facts, real world facts, there has to be a rigorous procedure in order for you to come to the correct conclusion, you know?
Yeah.
And your procedure will show that your conclusion's faulty, you know? So.
People just need to realize, like, on TV and education, they want you to like, if you're not labeled genius, you have no right to question what you're taught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you watch any of these so-called geniuses talk about anything, if they get questioned anything that's just a common sense question, they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yep.
You could just see it in their face.
What's that? Well, as I say, it's evident when I go to the universities and I'm asking them basic fundamental questions and they don't have a fucking clue. You know?
It's like the funny thing is they throw the flat Earth, and they always say the same, like, "Oh, where's the edge at?" Stupid questions like that. Like it's so fantasy that you couldn't believe it. But at the same time, how we say many times that, well, then there's people upside down. They're gonna fall off the Earth, you know.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. It's like they're both fantasies.
Yep.
You have no idea what's the truth.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. So,
I don't know. Shit, that's all I had to really say.
No worries, man. You can just come in and say what you want to say, and then you're welcome to come back any other time if you get something else to say. It's not a one-stop ticket, you know. People are welcome to come and go anytime they like, you know. So
Yeah, I'll come back. I'm just high as hell, so like.
no worries. You broke your virginity now anyway, so you're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Like I'm an introvert, so it's hard for me to go out and talk in front of people, you know.
Totally understand.
Even if it's online.
I totally understand, mate.
All right, man. Good talking to you.
You too, buddy. Right. Oh aye, right. He's want to hear that first wee bit of me get into speak to Gem Panda and these cronies. Did you want to hear that? Right, let me find it. What was it again? That fucking thing. It was about 40 minutes long, wasn't it? Must be that. Aye. Just bear with me here. Right.
That's
No, I
good,
can
yeah,
just-
that's-
So what's happening in here? Is this what the reprobates? This houses? I can hear you. Speak.
Well, somebody speak then.
Can you hear
No
me?
doubt it's Jam.
Can you hear me? I take it.
I can hear you.
So this is so what's happening in here? Is this what the reprobates? This hanging about? Is it?
You give me a pat on the back, Dale.
What for?
He doesn't need a pat on the back, he's in here, who gives a fuck?
I'll pat you on his brother, is that true?
What?
Brother from another mother.
Is it just fucking stupidity in here? Because I can't really be fucked listening to he's talking utter shit, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Is there any intelligence? If there's any intelligence.
So what's the flag, Dale?
If there's any intelligence.
This is the Globe Defence Health.
It's
just photo evidence if you want it.
It's just
Anti-flat Earth evidence.
It's just a degenerate fuckwits speaking over the top of each other, and there's no rational discussion happening here.
Basically.
So it's a waste of my time.
You're not very good at rational discussions, Dale.
Jim Panda, listen.
You usually get angry straight away. You're already interrupting me, aren't you?
Well, it's already been happening since I came in here, so you just get the same back. As I said before, see if you display a certain decorum, then you'll get the same in return from me. But see when you're an ill-mannered, disrespectful wee cretin, I'm just going to give you the exact same back. So when are you ever going to fucking learn? And listen, Jim Panda, I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest with you. I seen you in the video, right? I was waiting for you to start going, my precious, where's the globe? It's my precious. What is it, the matter with you?
Right. So
what's up with you, Jim Panda? What is it?
Your rational discussion is to try and take the piss out of a disabled person.
Are you disabled?
That's what you're doing.
Are disabled people beyond having a piss ripping? Is that what you're saying? Are disabled people immune to having a piss
No, I didn't say that.
Shut up, Spiegel. Where's your precious? Where's the curvature? Where's my precious curvature? Where's my precious curvature? It doesn't exist, you prick.
You came in here demanding a rational conversation, and the first thing that you've come up with is to be abusive about somebody's disability.
And listen,
Meryl, the only way I could speak, he interrupted me straight away. As soon as I spoke, he interrupted me. Even again.
He has to respect.
Yeah, he
He
has.
has to respect and decorum.
Okay.
And so far, he's interrupted people and taken the piss out of people's disabilities.
Excuse me, can I say something?
Excuse me, why?
Excuse me.
What?
Excuse
No
me.
respect and decorum.
Excuse
As
me.
usual, what we
Excuse
get
me.
from Dal is
Excuse me.
idiotic, moronic hypocrisy.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Epic proportions.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Handle this.
I think you'll find that when I came in, there was so many people talking over the top. There was already memes being posted and insults left, right, and centre before I'd even spoken a word. So wind your neck in, Jim, and try again.
There's always going to be memes posted in here, but when you came in, you were blundering around trying to figure out how it works. So of course there were people talking.
Hang on, Jim. Come on, be fair. He's new here.
It's fine.
Well, let's start again then from the beginning.
Listen, I know that people are nervous when I'm about, but there's no need to be nervous. You can just be nice and pleasant.
Oh, I'm not nervous now. We've been doing this
Be nice
years.
and pleasant, couldn't you?
I'm always nice.
We're yet to see that happen.
Jim, listen, don't take it to heart. It's just a wee bit of a ribbon. You're no beyond taking the
Just chill
piss.
like a villain.
In here. Come on, let's enjoy this. He's here.
It's a bit pathetic though, mate, I think.
Oh, come
We
on.
need a subject then, don't we?
What's the flat Del?
Let's talk about water.
So many voices. Getting a sore head. I'm getting a sore head.
More than one person talking.
Well, I'm going to get a sore nut, to be honest with you, so I'll probably be here for about 30 seconds longer if it
Yeah,
keeps up.
I understand that.
Right, so he's heard it from there on in the last time, so you need to go any further. There you go, I showed you it. So. Right. So. Did you enjoy that? I'll let you see it. I'm sure the sound was coming across. Don't tell me it wasn't working. Huh? Is that working there? Did you hear it? Oh, he's did. Shut up, Schmiegel. The interview stuff will be happening very soon. Don't worry about that. Well, that's the level of them. That's the type of people they are. To say there is just no decency at all in their discussions. They don't know how to. It's just incapable. They've got to try and knock you off your centre before they even engage in the topic of discussion. That's part of their tactic. You see a lot of that happening. They go in and there'll be so many of the characters and they're just trying to knock you off your centre so that you'll be rattled before the discussion starts. It's pathetic wee tactics. It works with some, but it doesn't work with people like me. So, fuck them. Anywho, no, Joey, you're not getting in, son. Don't be silly. Right. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, people. I shall see you all very, very soon. Take care of yourselves, okay?